Hello, this is Elizabeth Brewington, and we are celebrating the 8th annual Women Business Empowerment video podcast. Brightside is all about discovering people for you so that you can make informed choices. And Ascentim is our fourth winner for our Trailblazer Awards, for our Ambassador Awards. And Lisa Baker has not just appeared on the show, but she has helped Brightside and the community grow. So thank you, Lisa, for all that you've done for Brightside. We are so grateful to have you, and I know how busy your schedule is. And so I'm glad we were able to put this on the calendar and get you on the show in time for Women History Month. So first of all, congratulations for being a woman-owned business and surviving the economy because many businesses don't last. They don't last more than 3 months. And so, how many years has Ascentim been around?
Well, this April will be our fifth anniversary, and so I'm really proud of that. So thank you for the recognition and for inviting me to participate on this video interview.
Yeah, so tell us all about Ascentim. How did you get started? Uh, and then we'll get into what Ascentim has done in the last 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ascentum is a leadership development practice, and I coach high performing leaders who are wanting to take their careers to the next level. So I consider myself a leadership strategist and helping to create transformational leaderships and teams so that cultures in organizations transform and become more supportive, more proactive, more creative of leaders. And I got started, as I said, 5 years ago. I left corporate America. So I worked in Fortune 500 and larger organizations before starting my coaching practice. So I led large teams and had responsibility for P&Ls and all of the things that come along with being an executive in corporate America. And I retired early. And quite frankly, it was because my heart was no longer in it. I had done very well, could have gone further, but I was not excited anymore about making a really large corporation even larger. But what I was always enthused about is helping leaders to grow. And so when I left corporate, I started Ascentum with the idea of helping leaders to ascend from one level to the next of success. Because I don't believe success is a destination, it is a journey. We continue to evolve and grow. And as we continue to evolve and grow, then our teams, our companies, the organizations that we support grow. And so that really was the origin of Ascentum. I just wanted to help leaders to grow.
Fantastic. So let's break down the leader categories into tiers. So tier one is what I call the credentialed, highly skilled leaders that have come up in the ranks. You know, they went to school, they got their degrees, they have years of experience leading groups. And then tier two would be somebody who recently got promoted but wasn't prepared for the journey ahead, or they were in one department and they were moved to another department. So their experience, while it's valid, is not valid for the new job. So that's the second leader. And then the third leader is someone who we call a lot of our bright side and are people who were just thrown in. They were in a family, they inherited it, or they were widowed, or they decided, just woke up one morning and decided to start a business. No experience in what business they were starting. They just had a passion. We see that a lot with people who start restaurants and coffee shops, and they just like
Mhm.
coffee, so they open a coffee shop and they have no experience. So, so let's look at the three categories or three tiers of leaders. So let's start with leader number one, someone who's very experienced, very knowledgeable, and they come to Ascentim. So how
Yeah.
would Ascentim fulfill leadership skills for somebody who's already an established leader?
hmm I'm so glad that you tiered it out like that because, first of all, truly, you can lead from any position because leadership is not a title, it's not a role. It really is a way of being, it's a posture. And so if people follow you, if you're a person who is influential, if you're a person who is inspirational, you are a leader. That tier one group that you're talking about are people who've been doing it for a while. They are experienced, they feel confident in their role. So why would they need Ascentim? There are a couple reasons. First, for the individual leader, we all have blind spots. We all have areas of opportunity and ways in which we can continue to grow. So even if you're experienced, you may have been leading 10, 15, 20 years, but there's still more available to you. And so I help them to have that continuous growth and progression for themselves as a leader, because your business, your team, the company can only grow as much as you grow personally. So we have to be lifelong learners and continue to develop ourselves. The second way in which I help is that leader may want to develop other leaders, other people on their team. So they want to do development for the group that they lead or for their company. So then Ascentim can come in and create a customized leadership development experience that helps not only the leader, but their team to communicate better, to work more effectively, to understand how they impact not just their work, but how they impact those around them. So they function better as a system and a cohesive team. And then the culture is supportive of the kind of leadership the organization wants to have.
That is so true. And especially, because I have led teams of 50 in my former life. And with all the experience in the world, every situation is different. And I think every leader needs an Ascentim because it's like your go-to. Somebody, you never talk to your peers about the difficulties you have or about your growth strategies because it's competition. Even your junior staff are competing for your position. So everybody's competing in an environment like that. And so having a Ascentim, you've really outlined that, makes you a better and stronger leader. So let's go to
Yeah.
tier two or category two, where the person has been just thrown into the job day one, or you interview for a job and you get a job and you're now director or VP, and then you have really no experience with that category or field or industry. And how does one hit the ground running with Ascentim?
Yeah, that's another excellent category. Listen, recently I did a 2-day leadership development event for a manufacturing firm. And one of the questions that I asked the group was, how many of you felt prepared for your very first role that was at a leadership level where you were responsible for leading others? And I asked them to stand at a particular place in the room based on, yes, I felt fully prepared, somewhat, or not at all. That meeting included people from the CEO of the company down to levels of supervisors, plant managers in the organization. And 99% of the people in the room were standing in the position that says, no, I was not fully prepared to lead. And there was one person who stood in the kind of ready. So that tells you something about leading. Very few of us feel prepared when we go into that first role. And so my role is to help you get prepared, to help you feel prepared, to help you learn how to lead. And it's important to say, not just how to be a better leader, but how to be you and lead. That's about how to be authentically yourself, knowing what you bring to the table, how you can set your leadership vision, your leadership strategy, your leadership style, as opposed to copying something that you think you should do or what you feel like a leader should look like. No, let's craft your unique brand of leadership. And that's where I help to come in and help you really get clear about who you are and how you want to lead, and then help you to develop those essential leadership skills. Because most of us get promoted because we're great at what we do. We are a subject matter expert. You're doing really well. And then someone taps you on the shoulder and says, oh, you're really good at that. I think you could lead the team. That's not necessarily true. because the skills that you need to be a subject matter expert and to be really good at your job just below that first line of people leadership are very different than what you need to be a leader of other people. Go even higher in the organization. You may be great at the initial level of leadership, but then you get promoted again. And if you get promoted into a role where you're leading leaders, that requires a completely different set of skills than what you had at the previous leadership level. And so that's why no matter what level of leadership you're on, whether you're an individual contributor and you're leading your work and your function, or whether you're a first line leader, we'll call it, where you have people who report to you, or you go higher and now you have leaders who report to you and they have teams under them, all the way up to the CEO of the company or someone who's a member of the board. We all need that continuous growth and learning and support to develop into the highest and best version of ourselves.
Yeah, highest and best version of ourselves. I love that. So the last year is somebody who is recently started their own business, or they were thrown in because they are a family-owned business. They just inherited the business, and we've got several people with those kind of stories that, or they just got into a new position. I know personally, being a minority, and being an alien or a foreigner, as they call it. And, it was great when I was a nobody and I was just at the, Xeroxing. But when I became a vice president and a leader, I had a lot of opposition. People didn't want to report to you. People had, talked about you, and there would be a meeting upon a meeting. And when you came into the boardroom, they had already had a discussion, and had already decided, made decisions, and you're the leader. And how do you lead a dysfunctional team? So for somebody who's just, brand new leaders, as I call them, how do they come to Ascentim, and what does Ascentim offer someone that has absolutely no experience?
Yeah, for that new entrepreneur who is, like you said, they're starting a business because they had a passion around something and they want to turn it into a business, or they've inherited a family business. So maybe they know about the business. They may have even been working in it,
Yeah.
but now they're asked to lead it. Again, it requires a different set of skills. And so the biggest challenge, or among the biggest challenges that you have when you start a new business, especially if you came out of a bigger organization, is that when you're in a larger organization, you have lots of resources. You have teams of people who handle different functions. There's a sales team, there's a marketing team, you have an HR team, you may have an IT team. When you are a solo entrepreneur, as most of us are when we first begin, you're all of those functions. You're the salesperson, you're the HR leader, you're the marketer, you have to do it all. And so that can be very overwhelming for a new entrepreneur. And some of the things that you need to run a business, the understanding that you have to have, even the work to put together a business plan, that's often a foreign concept for someone who's brand new and starting a business. And so that's where I can come in and help. I do either one-on-one or small group coaching for entrepreneurs, emerging entrepreneurs, that helps them with things like, what goes in a business plan? How do you put together a business plan? How can you start to market your business? How do you make yourself known? How do you build your personal brand as an entrepreneur so that you can then build your business brand? All of those are topics that we can help someone with when they are starting a new business, inheriting a business, or even before that, you're just thinking about creating a business. Get that support from the very beginning. It will make the transition into your role as entrepreneur so much easier.
So there you have it. Whatever stage you're in, if you are put in a leadership position, we highly recommend that you talk to Ascentim. So what's your website, and can people get a consultation with you? How does that work?
Yeah, my website is ascentim.com. That's ASCENTIM Ascentim.com. So if you go to my website, Ascentim.com, and you go to the contact page, you can schedule a 30-minute complimentary strategy session. Now, in that 30-minute session, we will help you to get really clear about one, how you can move forward and advance on the goal that you have for coaching. Two, whether or not Ascentim is the right fit for you for coaching. And then three, you'll walk away with one or two things that you could implement right away to move yourself or your business or your team forward. So that is a highly structured and effective meeting so that you come away with something that you can use right away. So that is the fastest way to get in contact. You can put 30 minutes on the calendar right from ascentim.com/contact.
So there you have it. So we want you to take advantage of that and sign up, because when you sign up, then it shows that you saw the video, you got the message, and you took action. So then we have a measurable result that you took an action. So go ahead and subscribe and rewind the video, watch it again, because there's some really valuable advice to you on how you could be a better leader. And also, we did do Empower Leaders in January, so we want you to watch those videos as well, because you need to be a good leader. And in today's world where AI, new devices are coming up, new software is coming up, if you're not retooling yourself every single day, then you are going to be a total disaster. And so you need to be very strong with your emotional intelligence, with your behaviors, with your leadership skills, what we call soft skills. They play a big role when you're trying to adapt to new things. So you want to make sure that you've touched base with Lisa and you've gone to Ascentim and you've got signed up as a coaching client. Now it is expensive. Coaching is expensive, and many of us think, oh, but you buy a great new handbag, you buy great shoes, you get your hair done. All those things are just as important, but leadership is more important. It's what gets you to the top faster, quicker, and smarter. So we want you to definitely go and get with Ascentim. I'll make sure that the link is available to you as well. And tell us what you think about the interview. Tell us if there's something that you would like to know about. Ask us a question, and I'll take it to Lisa and get you a response ASAP. So thank you for watching, and you have been discovered, Lisa, on Discover Brightside.